What is good, y'all? So I have a predicament. All these books behind me, to the left of me, to the right of me. This is my physical TBR. I've counted it. We're gonna say it's roughly, give or take, 150 books. Don't start with me. Don't start with me. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear a word. I want to hear a judgmental word out of your mouth. Okay? See, what had happened was joining the book community did give me a sense of I need to own every book on the planet. I need to have a good background for books when I'm filming videos because my book collection at the time was very low and I overestimated my reading speed capabilities, and now we have this. And we have all of this. Basically, I let the consumerism and overconsumption that book talk, or at least popular book talk, sometimes has, and now all this. You see, but don't start with me. Some of these are gifted, some of these are bought, but you know it's gotta go. It's gotta go. And I've never read any of these. You know how it is. You buy books faster than you are able to read them, and now I've spent too much money. I've spent too much money. So this is my plan. For my book buying ban, because you see all these books, I don't need to buy anymore. I don't currently, as of right now, I don't need to buy anymore. And these have to at least be read. These have to, like, I have like a pile of like sequels, never finished. I have this pile of duologies right here, or like fantasy series, never touched them simply because romance took over my life. The way romance is very addicting genre. I did not realize it. I wasn't a romance girl when I was younger. I was very cringe at the idea of romance, didn't like intimacy, any of that. And now in my adulthood, it's majority of what I read, and I've severely neglected my roots, which is fantasy. I'm a fantasy girl at my core. Romance just took over my life. Now we got to get back on track. That's also one of my goals this year, is to read more fantasy, because right now all my bios say like, oh, romance and fantasy, which is a lie. A dirty lie, right? I have TBR piles that I was supposed to read that I just didn't touch because time got away from me. I had other priorities. I will blame college every time. College is very demanding, but hey, she got a degree. She's a learned girl. She's learned. She's a learned woman. I'm this big old card over here, and I want to take you along on the journey. I want to make reading vlogs for these piles, you know, really step up in YouTube content, really tying all three of my goals together in the most productive way that I can. I also got all these like pretty books back here. I don't need all these pretty books. I don't necessarily need all these pretty books, and I've also never read those either. I know I have a problem and I'm working on it, hence the video. So the plan is I'm gonna read through this entire TBR. We're gonna get down to it. I'm not going to spend a penny on a single book in the meantime, unless it's absolutely necessary. And when I cut my physical TBR down to like, throw between 50 to 80%, let's make that margin smaller. Let's say 60 to 80% is when I'll reward myself and I can go back to buying books. But we're going to do reading vlogs periodically, hopefully throughout the year. This is to hold myself accountable, and whether or not I like them and I want to keep them, whichever ones I don't want to keep or don't want to continue reading, we're going to get rid of them. They're going to go. We're going to sell them. Probably on Pango. So stay tuned for that. I think this is the year of the DNF. I think this is the year that I start DNFing books, because there are definitely a lot of books here that I, first of all, don't need, but I think I've genuinely found my taste when it comes to books. And a lot of these books probably don't fit my taste at all. So we got to figure that out right away and start moving them off the shelf. I only have so many shelves and so little space in this tiny room. These are the oldest books on my TBR. I mean, like, look at this. Some of these, I don't even remember why I picked them up because it was that long ago. Like, I'm pretty sure I purchased these when they came out. And this is giving very circa 2013 to 15. You know, we have Renegade by the author of Lunar Chronicles, Miss Myers herself. We have this Carve the Mark series that Veronica Roth came out with because I was a Divergent girly. And then I read through half of this. I read through the first book, barely remember a single thing, did not finish this one. And this is sci-fi, and I'm not that big of a sci-fi consumer unless it's the Lunar Chronicles. Like, the Lunar Chronicles is the only one that makes sense to be a sci-fi consumer because it's mainly just fairy tale that takes place, like, somewhat in space. Like, they do go to another planet, but it's mainly just fairy tale, not a lot of science fiction, in my opinion. So it was much easier to digest But this one, I remember mostly nothing. And I did not read this, but I bought it because I thought I was going to read it. Didn't touch it. We have Matched, which I remember everybody hating Matched. I remember everybody hated this book, and I don't even think I finished this one. I don't even think I finished the first one. We have this book called Busted. I think I did start it, never finished it. Don't remember a thing about it. I have these 2 starters from this book series by Marie Lu that my friend told me to read that I never touched. I have this sequel to The Program called The Treatment, which I heavily remember the program. If you haven't read the program, it's about this society where if like a teenager is depressed or they show signs of depression or suicidal thoughts, they get sent to the program and they get brainwashed and then they come out like a completely new person. And I think in this first book, this couple gets sent into the program and you see like their brain, like you see like their mind, you see them getting brainwashed through the book. And I don't remember what happened afterwards. 3 Dark Crowns, don't know what it's about. Nemesis, don't know what it's about. Seafire, which I'm sure, I think my school librarian gave me this a long time ago when I was in high school and didn't really ask for them back. She was just giving them out. Still never read it, but thank you. Deep Blue, still haven't read this one at all. Uninvited by Sophie Jordan, still have never, I don't even, again, this is probably one that my librarian in my school gave me. No clue, no idea what it's about or what. American Girls, again, no thoughts. Don't know what it's about at all. Unalive, the boy band, no clue. And also Zodiac, another sci-fi book. Never read it a day in my life. Don't know what it's about at all. But when I get into this new reading vlog era, we're gonna start off with these. We're gonna make it fun. We're gonna make it a game because I do have these little jars that I think are meant for tea. But I filled them with little scraps of paper and they're gonna be my TBR jars. This is one of my TBR jars. This one is specifically for Black indie authors that I want to read from because that's also another goal on my list is to read more Black indie books, and I'm also going to do reading vlogs of those, so stay tuned for that. Black indie authors, Black authors in general will be this jar, and then this jar is going to be everything from a variety of the oldest books on my TBR to books that have been adapted that I've never read. Like, for example, I was gifted this summer I Turned Pretty series by Simon Teen. Thank you, Simon Teen. And I have not read them at all, so I might read them and then do a reaction to the series and compare it to the book, because I'm not in the fandom like that. I'm not involved. I don't know. I know the main cast and that's about it. Everything else about it, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. We're gonna do a fantasy TBR. We'll do fun ones like Black History Month TBR, Halloween TBR, Christmas TBR. There's so many possibilities in this little jar. So yeah, that's the plan. Hope you like to sit here and watch me ramble about it. And we're just gonna get into it. So stay tuned for more TBR videos in the future. I think those will be fun. I'm editing one right now that I filmed months ago that I forgot to edit. And again, the books that I don't want to keep on my shelf will be listed in my Pango. There'll probably be a link to it in the description below of books that I will be selling off of Pango. And if you have any tips and tricks on what you would want to see from my reading vlogs or what I could do in them to make them as entertaining as possible, please let me know. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!